In this video, I want to share my #1 tip so you can really elevate your drone footage. Let's get right to it. The first impulse you get when you buy a drone is to fly it way up high to get this super wide shot over the landscape. These shots are not bad by any means, and they can be really useful in some circumstances. I really like, for example, when I point my camera straight down from far above to find these lines and shapes that can really make for an interesting image. Since everyone is able to buy a drone these days and get aerial shots, there seems to be a kind of inflation when it comes to these images. And what I mean is that aerial shots nowadays isn't something special. Before drones became a thing, you needed to rent a helicopter, and that was very expensive, of course. Whenever you saw an aerial footage in a production, you instantly knew that this production had a proper budget. Nowadays, that rule is long gone because everyone can buy a cheap drone instead of renting a helicopter to capture these aerial footage. After a couple of years of using my drone, right now I'm using the DJI MINI 3 Pro, and I've started to change my mindset when it comes to flying this drone. So the #1 tip I want to share with you is to try to imagine your drone as a crane or a jib camera. There's so much thing that you can do in your composition if you fly your drone at a much lower altitude. When you fly your drone way up high, there's very little layering you can do in your image. So once you lower your drone, you can start thinking about the composition in a completely different way. For example, you maybe want to have a tree in the foreground while you slowly move into your scene, or maybe you want to come over this rock to reveal the location. At a location, you can start thinking about, okay, what if I had a shot just over the treetops? Or maybe above a car or something like that. One strength when it comes to drones, if you compare it to a gimbal, is that you really don't get that swaying up and down with a drone unless it's very windy. But as you can see here in some of my shots here, you don't get that up and down wobble like from the gimbal. There's some places where you can't walk with a gimbal, and in those circumstances a drone is perfect. For example, in this shot with a lot of tulips, I couldn't walk in this field of tulips, so I took my drone to just get this sweeping shot over these flowers. Before this DJI MINI 3 Pro, I had the first Mavic and the second Mavic, but I downgraded to this drone just because of the weight. First, I was worried that my downgrade to the DJI MINI 3 Pro would be detrimental to the image quality, but actually I find that I can get very good, nice footage from this little drone. This one weighs 249 grams, which makes it a little bit easier to fly in some circumstances because it's not that regulated compared to heavier drones. However, as a side note, I think there should be an update to these laws because, for example, when I filmed these tulips, I was in the vicinity of a helicopter pad. And the rule states that I need to call the traffic control whenever I want to fly my drone inside of this area. But that is to me a little bit silly in this case because I was only flying my drone 1.5 meters above ground. My point is that there's no differentiation between flying low inside of this control zone or flying way up high and potentially be a risk. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? One thing that would make me upgrade from this drone is if we could get a DJI MINI 5 Pro with a couple of more cameras. We only have a wide-angle camera in this drone, but what if we could get a telephoto camera in this small compact drone? That would be very cool because I really like the DJI Air 3 with its multiple cameras. You can really get some cool shots when you're zoomed in on your object. And in combination with with regarding this as a crane or a jib, I believe it would open up a lot of more possibilities for me as a filmmaker. Alright, that's all I have for now. I hope this tip was helpful to you. If you have any questions or your own tips, let me know in the comment section. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!